It now puts the pressure on Birmingham, Stoke and West Bromwich Albion, who all lost. In Division 2, Luton drew 1-1 at Cambridge and now lead Watford by 4 points. Sheffield Wednesday closed the gap behind Watford by winning at Shrewsbury, while Rotherham and Newcastle both drew. Watford and Blackburn didn't play. Division 3, Carlisle, who won 1-0 at Preston, are the new leaders, taking over from Lincoln, whose 16-match unbeaten run ended with defeat at Burnley. And in Division 4, Wigan stay 5 points clear after beating Crewe 3-0, with Eamon O'Keefe getting all their goals. Peterborough goes second, thanks to their 2-1 win at Torquay. Pools, and listen very carefully this evening, it could be worth a small fortune. With 7 score draws and 4 no-score draws on the coupons, dividend forecasts are very good. Telegram claims are required for 23 points, and the score draw numbers 3, 11, 14, 19, 21, 33 and 38. The no-score numbers 12, 17, 24 and 36.
So quite a programme. I hope that you've enjoyed it and indeed enjoyed too the remainder of Easter. It's been a week when some have been reflecting on the difference a few days can make in the life of a politician. John Bond and Bob Paisley, among others, would point out the difference a few weeks can make in the life of a football manager. When they met on Boxing Day, there was doubt about Liverpool and joy for City. Today, it was another kind of holiday. Good night.
Kinsey, Hartford rather getting in and scoring a superb goal. Here's Kinsey. Francis screaming for it on the edge of the box. Reeves with a back flick and it's gone in, and Grobbelaar's misery is complete. Lee. Oh, what a goal!
Liverpool content to keep possession. Oh, Russian Caton again, and he's got free. Must go in. Johnston had to do. Alan Kennedy. Still Kennedy. Oh, what a goal from Alan Kennedy! It's number 5. It's so easy.
This BBC video cassette, called Harry Carpenter's Videobook of Sport, is available from official stockists. It features rugby, cricket and football, including highlights from the 1966 World Cup final.
Programmes for Easter Sunday on BBC1 at 6:40, Songs of Praise comes from Wells Cathedral. Then at 7:15 in open all hours, the avaricious Arkwright plots new ways to make money.
I can see a lorry on the motorway with that written on it, you know. Arkwright, famous at her.
You'll never get all that on the side of a lorry.
At 7:45, the film A Whale for the Killing, starring Peter Strauss and Richard Widmark. A small fishing community is locked in conflict when a whale is trapped in the harbour.
Why would you look at that?
What in the name of God is wrong with you?
At 10:10, The Challenge of the Passion, a new setting by Jonathan Harvey of the traditional medieval mystery play performed in Winchester Cathedral. Finally, at 11:25, Phil Silvers completes Easter Sunday on BBC1.
Tonight, starting at 12:15, 3 stories of mystery, imagination and terror at the dead of night. Before that, Michael Parkinson presents a special programme looking back over the past 11 years of his successful talk show.
Hello, Parky. Oh, hello, Parky. It's so nice to see you back on your show again. Now don't you say a single word, Parky, because it's absurd, Parky, to keep yakking when we got this backing with this fine bunch of young men in London town. There's nowhere I can ever go where I'm as welcome as I am when I'm with you. So don't you get bored, Parky. Listen to the folks applaud, Parky. You'll get your touch to top when we're all through. Mr. Parkinson, cock your ear and hearken, son. The folks are glad to see you back again. There you are.
When we started the show back in 1971, we were told to produce a series of 12 programs for the summer months television's silly season, and then they'd make their minds up. Well, 361 shows later, we're finally closing down for good. I said goodbye last week, but what we're going to do tonight is look back at some of those shows and the moments from them. All you have to do is what I do on an occasion like this, sit back and enjoy yourself. Oh, and by the way, the guy with the Beatle haircut and the sparkling eyes unsupported by bags is me, a long time ago when all this first started.
You must be actually, come to think of it, the richest man that I've interviewed.
You're kidding. You've had Crosby here. And he sends care packages to Paul Getty. You know, he is the guy with the money.
Really?
And I think he's figured out a way to take it with him. I saw him buying an asbestos suitcase the other day. These are some of the jokes.
Yes.
I was playing in Las Vegas at the Sahara Hotel, and I wanted to go to the Riviera Hotel, which was a short distance, and I'm a very good tipper. I really am, and particularly to cab drivers, because sometimes I feel guilty about taking a cab driver away from a good corner, and he only has a short distance to go. So he took me someplace, and it amounted to about 90 cents, and I gave him $3, and I told him to keep the change. And he said to me, now this is a real true story, and I can only tell it to you the way he said it. Otherwise, it's no good. He said to me, Mr. Benny, I wish you hadn't done that. I wish you hadn't given me such a big tip. I said, why? He said, I wanted to be able to go home and tell my wife what a cheap son of a bitch you are. And now, he says, and now I can't do it. I says, yes, you can. Give me back the tip, and then but he wouldn't do it.
I was living in a little boarding house on 45th Street, and this man was living there. His name was Captain Betts, he called himself. Captain Betts and Flipper. He worked at the Seal. And he was booked into the theater, the Dewey Theater on 14th Street. And he got sick, and they asked me to take his place. And I told him, don't be silly. I says, Betts, I've never worked with the Seal. I wouldn't know what to do. He says, you don't have to worry about it. The Seal does the whole thing. He says, the curtain goes up and the Seal is on a little platform and you're standing there with a ball in your hand and your pocket's full of fish. And you just throw the ball to the Seal and the Seal flips the ball, he bounces the ball, he juggles it and throws it back to you, and you throw him a piece of fish and he applauds with his flippers. Now he does about 3 more tricks, and every time you throw him at the end of the trick, you throw him a piece of fish and he applauds. And at the finish of the act, there's a rack of horns, and he goes in back of the horns and he blows into the horns and he plays Yankee Doodle. He says, at the finish of Yankee Doodle, he presses a lever and 2 American flags come up. And you throw him a piece of fish, and as he's applauding with his flippers, you're taking bows, and the curtain comes down. And I opened at the Dewey Theater and got away with it. But that night I had a date with a very pretty girl who was also in show business. And I was afraid to meet her. I was ashamed to meet her because when you do 4 shows a day with your pockets full of fish, you don't smell too good. But I met her, and she never noticed it because she was doing an act with Fink's Mules. In fact, she complimented me on my aftershave lotion.
So I never really thought of myself as pretty. But when I got a little bit older and the equipment arrived, well, then I thought, gee, this is pretty terrific. Maybe I ought to try it out a little, you know. And I sort of strut my stuff around and see how it all worked, and it worked pretty good.
I was 15 when my equipment arrived.
Yes.
Hey?
I'm much bigger than you thought, aren't I?
I was 40 when it left. 45 now. I think it's coming back again.
It's daft. It is daft. It's lovely. That was old. Who was that? That was old Norman. Norman Evans.
You see, one of the beautiful things about on the last series we introduced these 2 old women in a laundrette. But it is something peculiar to Lancashire, the fact that when 2 women talk, particularly that age group, if there's anything at all which they consider risque or something comparable to the female body, they never finish the sentence. It's perfectly true. So you'll get an so how's things? I believe she's near a time. Oh yeah. I believe she had a. And they never finished the sentence. It was really most peculiar, you know, and they used to get things mixed up. I may quote one thing that Peter Maloney from Liverpool.
Oh, he's a funny man.
Very true. About the woman in hospital, and the chap said, how are you? She said, I've been very ill, you know. She said, it's my time of life, I had it. She said, it's a very serious operation. It's called an hysterical rectum.
There's a guy came up to me in the street. Oh, I hope I can get away with this. It's a beauty. And he said, hey, Big Un. You know, in Scotland they call me Big Un. And I'm not very big, but everybody there's off a wee, you know. But he said, did you hear about the guy had done his wife in and that? And I said, no. He said, this guy was going out to meet his friend in the pub, and he went down. He said, oh, hello, how's it going? He said, fine, fine. He said, how's the wife? He said, oh, she's dead. I said, what? He says, dead. Do it again. Dead. I murdered her. Forget it. She said, kidding me on? He said, no, it's morning. Dead. He said, look, I'm not talking to you if you keep on talking like that. He said, well, please yourself. I'll show you if you want. He said, no, show me. So are we up to his tenement building, through the close, that's the entrance to the tenement. Into the back green, into the wash house, and sure enough, there's a big mound of earth. There's a bum sticking out of it. He says, is that her? He says, aye. He says, what'd you leave a bum sticking out for? He says, I need somewhere to park my bike.
We've had a lot of requests for songs. What do you suggest we sing out of the 2 songs we know?
Who's got me ding dong? Who's got me ding dong?
How the hell, how do I know who's got your ding dong? You're a big lad now, you ought to be able to look after it. Oh. Did you have it with you when you came on?
Don't look at me, I haven't got it.
Such nonsense. Who's got me ding dong? Have you lost yours as well? Look, I'll tell you what, I'll get myself right, and then I'll get you 2 right after. Harry, could you give us a touch-up on the piano, just to get the note? No, it's a bit off. It's a bit off, that. Yeah? A bit damp, I think. That's the one, yes.
When I was a young man and never been kissed, I got to thinking it over, how much I'd missed. So I got me a girl from Leamington Spa.
But you'd be better off with a bounty bar.
because she had kisses sweeter than wine. She had, oh, oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Well, she was happy and she was gay, and I knew that I'd love her all of the way. She'd eyes of blue and golden locks.
Where is she now?
She's in that box.
Because she has kisses sweeter than wine. She had, oh, oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Sweeter than wine. Well, I asked her to marry me and be my wife, and we'd be happy for the rest of our life. But we're not happy, something's gone wrong.
You'll be all right when you find your ding-dong.
Cause she had kisses sweeter than wine. She had, oh,
Oh, you're standing on me foot!
kisses sweeter than wine.
Underneath the arches, we dream our dreams away. Underneath the arches, on cobblestones we lay. Every night you'll find us tired and warm, happy when the daylight comes creeping, heralding the dawn, sleepy when it's raining, and sleeping when it's fine. Trains rattling by above, pavement is our pillow, no matter where we stray. Underneath the arches, we dream our dreams away.
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I love London so. Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I think of her wherever I go. I get a funny feeling inside of me, just walking up and down. Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner that I love London town.
All right, can you play me a rumble, gentlemen? No. You see, I want to explain to you. The square started by being about 3 feet, and play the, give it, and you start with. Now, finally, when you've got that beat, now you make it smaller. Now then, you finally have to put down a handkerchief and dance on 4 corners of it, see?
This is a tune about a cowboy.
Cowboy.
These are not to see the music because there isn't any music. These are to see the keys. Down in Arizona where the Badlands are, and the only thing to guide you is the evening star. The roughest, toughest man by far was ragtime cowboy Joe. He always sing jazzy music to the cattle as they swing back and forward in his saddle on a horse, a pretty good horse with the syncopated gait. The roar of his repeater, it has such a funny meter how they run when he fires that gun, so the western folks all know that he's a highfalutin, rootin', tootin', son of a gun from Arizona. Ragtime cowboy, talk about your cowboy. Ragtime cowboy Joe.
Piano playing debut.
Now, what's this one?
Eat your heart out.
I mean, well, improve on that. Well, all right, I can't really, but I would do it. That's what I would do.
Nothing. This is a very, very simple song and dance number.
It had better be.
Well, it's actually a walking number. You can walk.
I think so, just about.
We will soon find out. You can tell about the manner of a man by the shape of his head, it has been said. Or you can tell if his character is fine by a line in his hand. I understand. But my own method for judging people I meet, get ready, is by the way they use the shoes on their feet. Ready? There's the kind of walk when the world's undone you. There's the kind of walk. I think you're over-rehearsed. There's the kind of walk you walk when the neighbors shun you. Now, there's the kind of walk you walk that attracts a crowd. Now, happy. Now, there's the kind of walk you walk. That's very much you're gonna find life stranger snappy. The day you that walking happy gives the world a shine. Hands! So just keep walking happy with your hand in mine. With your hand in mine. Applaud!
He's a lad, he's having a go at me. Tell him about dancing with the Puffs in Spain. Oh, look at him. Oh, no. That was a quiet night when he had the rose behind the ear. Came back 2 days later with a voice like Dionne Warwick. Right. I bet they cut that out. You were saying? Mary's there, his missus saying, I don't remember you going
I don't really know. Yes. How do you cope with drunks and hecklers, Mr. Tarbuck?
Join them.
That's unfair to put that to it. I mean, you should explain to ladies and gentlemen now. I mean, me drinking with those fellas, I mean, dancing with those fellas. I mean, to start with, it wasn't true.
It was all in fun. I bet you don't get on Stars on Sunday after this.
Now, let's just do the same thing. Here we go. We're coming in now. Right. I'm putting on my top hat, mussing up my white tie, dancing in the... Come on! You can do it, King.
All right.
Right, here we go. Right.
I'm doodling in my shirt front, putting in my shirt studs, I'm polishing my new.
do. You have to pretend you're a musketeer and I got a cape on, you see. So you come down the stairs and you say, you've got to swank a bit because you've got a costume. So you say, Richelieu, if I give you my sword, will you give me your heart? Let me see you do that.
Me?
No laughing. No laughing.
I can't do this silly bloody hat on.
No laughing.
Right, I come down with a cloak. Right, let's do it.
Take one, take two now. Come on, it's not that easy, is it? Richelieu, if I give you my... Remember?
Richelieu, if I give you my sword, will you give me your heart?
I'm not dressed for this, you know.
No.
I mean, I do it without clothes in the morning.
You do?
My bath, yes.
Naked?
So, no, yes. So, what happens now, I don't know. Now, let me see what... Yes, all right. I may not be able to do it in these clothes for a long time like this. Now, you lie on your back.
Then we... Incredible. Come on, Snowball. Come on. Down again. Come on, John Snow.
Come on, Michael, you've got to do it.
All right, Ben, I will. Just come on, John. Only if you do. I will do it. Come on. Come on. So we're going to be shamed by a nonagenarian. Right.
I might not play tomorrow, you know.
That's
even if
right.
I'm allowed.
Flat on your back.
Flat on my back.
Knees stiff.
Knees stiff. Right.
Well, I have a poem.
Ah.
We got 1 minute?
1 minute, easy.
The poem goes like this. People say, what's going to happen when you meet Joe Frazier again? Here's how the fight's going to sound over the radio for those who can't afford to buy the expensive theater seats. And the fight goes like this. Ding, Ali comes out to meet Frazier, but Frazier starts to retreat. If Frazier goes back an inch farther, he'll wind up in the ringside seat. Ali swings to the left, Ali swings to the right. Look at the kid carry the fight. Frazier keeps backing, but there's not enough room. It's a matter of time. There Ali lowers the boom. Now Ali lands to the right. What a beautiful swing. And the punch lifts Frazier clean out of the ring. Frazier's still rising, but the referee wears a frown, for he can't start counting until Frazier comes down. Now Frazier disappears from view. The crowd is getting frantic, but our radar stations have picked him up. He's somewhere over the Atlantic. Who would have thought when they came to the fight that they would have witnessed the launching of a colored satellite?
I try always to remember that it isn't really important in the scale of human values. It's fun, it's a pleasure, it's a hobby, but by comparison with things like love, war, hunger, suffering, it's nothing at all. And this is one of the things I fear is happening in my time, that people are taking sport too seriously and life too lightly.
Now, I'm a hypocrite because I got a white fella working for me in an all-white country. Wait, you can tackle me.
Commissioner, you also said recently in a speech that you hope to live as long as Moses.
No, that's quite wrong.
Oh, I see. I stand corrected. What did you say, sir?
I said there's no hope. I can't.
Oh.
There's no use hoping to live. But you see, this was for the age research.
Yes, I know that.
How to make age more comfortable and so on. I think it's a jolly good thing if they could. But I said I should like to go through my old age, to finish my old age, or something like that, as Moses did, when it says in the Bible that his eyes were not dim. Well, that's not, I've got to wear spectacles, so my eyes are dim. And his natural strength, that's what attracted me, was not abated. Think how wonderful it would be to be 90 and still as strong and vigorous as you were at 19.
Yes. But he was 120, wasn't he?
Yes. That's
So
right.
they say.
120.
Yes.
Well, I should think being 100's about equal to it.
Yes.
today.
Commissioner, I must tell you, my money's on you.
What's that mean?
What it means?
I hope you're not a betting man. They used to say in the pub, put your money on the grey horse or something.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes. No, it was a betting
What
phrase,
did it
actually.
mean?
What I meant to say was that if I were a betting man, which I'm not, and there was a book made, if there's a bet going... all I'm trying to say, Commissioner, in my own sort of clumsy way, is that I would imagine that you would reach 100, actually, the way you are.
Oh, I should like to.
I wasn't very keen to go because many of my relatives from Poland had died in Auschwitz. However, the point of the series was that it wasn't an entertainment, it was about life the way it is, the way it has been. And we just made up our minds to make it as true as we try to do everything in the series. That is, I said I'll go for one day, and during the morning we'll walk around, and in the afternoon we'll do the one piece by the pond that we know we want to do. I had never seen Auschwitz. You know, I had practically seen none of those places in the programs for reasons that I'll be happy to tell you about afterwards. But Auschwitz, I hadn't been to at all. We arrived at this station, which had been looked over by the producer in advance, so he knew what we should see. I went through these terrible wooden and iron gates that say, Arbeit macht frei at the top, work makes free, to these unhappy people who went there to their deaths. And I looked at the gas ovens. I was particularly keen to see bunker 12 and 11, where people were beaten and shot for breach of regulations, because I sort of felt that you must see it all. But it turned out that the things that were far more moving were ones that I couldn't have imagined at all. There was a terrible area which was entirely full of wooden legs and crutches and artificial limbs. And the most pathetic area of all, an area which was just full of little tin chamber pots that children who'd come to the camp had brought with them and that the Germans had collected. Well, by this time I was in a pretty low frame of mind. And the most awful thing was that there were pictures in the corridors of prisoners, which were just the ordinary picture, you know, front, face, number on the bottom. But many of them were pictures of quite young people, children. And to see these pictures of people taken as if they were criminals, with the tears streaming down their face. It was just unbearable. Well, then we drove over to the pond, and we had arranged that I was just going to say a piece to close that program at the pond, which would arise out of what I'd seen in the morning. So I sort of walked up and down for 5 minutes, making up my mind what I was going to say. And then we did it. One take, and we go home. We had made up our minds that it was a piece which you couldn't possibly do twice. I mean, you just had to say what came into your mind.
Yeah.
And the thing that came into my mind, absolutely out of the blue, was the phrase from Oliver Cromwell that I quote, "I beseech you, in the bowels of Christ, think it possible you may be mistaken."
My father left an enormous impression on me. He was a hard man. He drank a lot, and you know, I think he did a lot of things in his life that he always wished I wouldn't do, if you know what I mean. He finally went into hospital, actually, and I used to go and see him every day when I come home from school. I used to go up to see him, and my mother used to send him up his tobacco and his matches and the daily paper and everything, and I used to take them up to him. And as time went on, I mean, his whole face sort of disappeared, bless him, and he was all in bandages. His whole head was in bandages. But the last thing he said to me has got to be the most profound thing I've ever heard in my life. I sat by the bed talking to him, and he said to me, "You know I'm going to die, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, I do." I said, "Mum told me you were going to die." Well, he said, "I think I'm going to die pretty quickly." He said, "So I would like it if you didn't come and see me anymore." And I said, "Okay." And then he said, well, I got up to say goodbye to him. And he said, "Before you go," he said, "there's something I think I should say to you." Now, he said, "You think I'm terrific, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, I do." Well, he said, "I think before I die, it's only fair if I should tell you that I'm not." Because he said, when I'm gone, he said, "I'm sure a lot of people will tell you I'm no good, and there's nothing would please me more than for you to say, 'Yes, I know, he told me that himself.'"
See, the great thing that saved Gary is he's got such a devilish sense of humour.
Really?
And he's very good looking too. And it's very difficult to explain this. If you're not the parent of a handicapped child, it sounds almost cruel when you talk about the humorous things that happen, but it isn't. Pity is the last thing that's the first thing to get out of the way.
Right.
And anyone who comes in and starts being pitying with a handicapped child is a bore, because you can't do anything practical. Now, Gary, if anyone came in and started being sort of the moist eye, he was immediately, get this Burke out of here. I mean, you could see this in the eyes. Really? What use is this person going to be to me? They can't feed me, they can't fetch anything. We had a fella come over once, the house that we had in Golders Green. Gary would have been about 6. And he was really patronizing with him. He was ruffling his head and talking to him, and we said, he can't hear you. And he still got on talking. And you could see Gary had taken never such a faint needle. He wanted to play with his plasticine. The fellow had come to read the gas meter. And he said, you leave me with him, and he'll be all right with me. And I went up to work in my office upstairs, and my wife went out shopping. About half an hour later, when I came back downstairs, Gary was already hoarse with laughter. He'd been laughing for half an hour. And the man was still beating on the cupboard where the gas meter was, because as soon as he'd gone in there, Gary had scooted over and slammed the door on him.
Was there a point at all when you, in the 30 you said it was now, 30 years that you've been in charge of him bringing him up, a point perhaps early on where you wish you'd never been born?
I don't think I'd believe any parent of a handicapped child who said they'd never come to that point. I think there has to be a point where maybe for the sake of your child, you think life is too difficult for him or her, or maybe, and certainly I have to admit, in my case, for my own sake, there were times I was so low I thought, I don't wish it now, but there were times, yes.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you and make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired of waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good or speak too wise. If you can dream, not make dream your master. If you can think, and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors, both the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, and see the thing you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build it up again with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginning, and never breathe one word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve their turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will that says to man, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
This is a story about an old boy who's on tour. He's well past it. And he's on tour up north with a show. And he decides to go into a pub for a drink that morning. And he goes into the pub and he says to the landlord, he said, "Good morning, landlord. My name is Warrington Minge. I am appearing in the new play at the Hippodrome, Tomorrow's New Yesterday. And I was wondering if you could oblige me. I'll have a large Remy Martin, please, by cashing this small check." He said, "I'm sorry, sir, I've not seen the notice." He said, "What notice are you referring to?" "No checks cashed for theatrical." "Ah, no," he said, "I didn't notice that, I must admit, no. Make that a lemonade shandy. I'll have a lemonade shandy, I think, and I'll call back for the Remy Martin." So he goes out of the pub into the butcher shop down the road. He said, "Good afternoon, Master Butcher. What a fine hygienic establishment you have here. All meat under cover, free from contamination by flies and other pests. My name is Warrington Minge. I am appearing at the Theatre Royal in a new play entitled Tomorrow's New Yesterday, and I was wondering whether you could oblige me with a few chops and a liver or something like that. This small check I have here, by cashing this..." He said, "I'm sorry, sir. You see, I'm not the owner here, but the owner was once taken on very badly by a theatrical..." He said, "No, don't bother to go into the..." No, it's all right, no. "If you can prepare a lean chopper, I'll call back for it later." Tries about 5 other shops, ending up at a Chinese laundry at the end of the street. Goes into the Chinese laundry, and they come out, said, "What a fine race of people, the Chinese. Many years I spent in your fine country in repertory. In Singapore, I remember, yes. My name is Warrington Minge. I am appearing in a new play at the Theatre Royal entitled Tomorrow's New Yesterday. And I was wondering whether you could oblige me by cashing this small check." He said, "Oh, so sorry, sir. We now cash check for theatricals." He said, "Then would you mind pressing the bloody thing?"
I mean, it must have been fascinating for you working on a Hollywood epic. In any case, did you get any sort of assistance, though, from Mr. Leroy, apart from him establishing that you knew as much about historical research as he did, if not more?
Well, I was very much nearer my dramatic student days then, and very serious about certain things, which I'm still serious about now, but do in a different way. And so I wanted to find out from my new director what he thought of the part that I was about to play. And I saw him for the first time 24 hours before we shot, and he was on a huge stage like this, and he was standing smiling with his cigar. And I said, how do you think I ought to play Nero? He said, Nero? Son of a bitch. I said, yes, I agree. We agreed so far. I said, and then he thought and he said, you know what he did to his mother? With decent concern, as though there was something that could still be done about it. I said, yes, I do know what that was. Very reprehensible. Yeah, son of a bitch. Suddenly he began to tap dance. And he said, I used to be a hooker. I said, a hoofer, rather. I thought for a terrible moment he wanted me to tap dance in the part of Nero, but he didn't. He considered what I'd said, and he said, the way I see it, and I was all listening there, he said, Nero's a guy plays with himself nights.
And there were these occasional, rather more disreputable parties set up for entirely sexual purposes, which I was once invited to one of those and sat rather anxiously on the edge of a bed in total darkness while all sorts of gruntings and strange susurrations and so forth went on. While, in fact, what was so wonderful about it was the way in which decorum was preserved in the middle of the chaos, because while there were these sort of heaving things one could see occasionally against the slatted blinds, there was this very, very decorous man in a white coat walking around with a silver tray offering whiskey to people who are otherwise engaged. And that was all very odd. But for about an hour, I remember sitting on the edge of this. I mean, it started off in perfectly normal life. It was rather like a sort of Cinderella scene when you got, at midnight, suddenly the werewolves took over, you see. Everyone was talking quite normally and chatting about what shows, and then suddenly the light went out. And there was total silence for about 5 minutes, and then there's faint rasps and noises and giggles and grunts and so on. And then I sat on the edge of the bed, hoping that I would be seriously interfered with at one time.
Is it true that you don't have sex before a fight?
No, it's during a fight.
I'm not going to get any sense. You're as bad as this lovely young man.
Well, John, do you have it or do you not?
Answer, John.
Come on, lad.
He must have sex before a fight. I mean, he's quite old now.
Yes. Oh, yes. We're all coming to a close, aren't we?
We are, actually. That was...
I mean, I wouldn't ask you if you have sex. Don't ask you if you have sex before a show. I can see that you have.
Well, look at this. Look at this.
It's a different angle.
That's right.
Zoom in, lad. Zoom in.
Body language.
Would you say that I was a male chauvinist pig? I tell you what. You've had great experience at doing this. How do you ascertain?
You don't want me to answer that question?
Oh, I do, yes, please. First of all, off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head, how about the bottom of my shoes? I think you're a great flirt. I love it, too, by the way. You know?
But
that's important, because a lot of male chauvinist pigs don't like to flirt.
Oh.
So I think the flirting part of it eases the pain of the fact that you are a male chauvinist.
You think Well, all I can say, I can commend you on your accuracy.
On my truthfulness.
Your truthfulness, because my wife, I've been married 16 years, she says the same as you do. Mind you, she doesn't even say I'm a flirt. But anyway, but it seems to me, let's go back to the...
But she shows your buttons on, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's right. Not very well at times.
And we pop them off.
That's right. But there's one...
Kissy, kissy.
Kissy, kissy.
Hello, Michael.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm well.
Hi, Frog.
Good evening, Miss Piggy.
You have such deep blue eyes.
Yes, and you have bedroom eyes. Let me see. Well, they're dining room eyes anyway.
I've been dying to meet you.
Well, I'm so taken aback by this meeting. Could I just ask you one deeply personal question?
Of course.
Is that a toupee?
I actually gave catchphrases to people, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I You see, Huey Green has never said, "I mean that most sincerely," not to my knowledge. Max Bygraves has never said, "I want to tell you a story." And as far as I know, Sir Harold has never said, "And I said this at the Brighton conference."
I won't talk about politics because I've got quite strong views, but I like what you said. I listened to some of it just now about the young people of today don't so much mind about a party. They want certain things done, and that's how I feel about it. My beloved old father was a liberal. All nice men were liberals. And if you find out, you'll find your father or your father's brother or somebody, they all believed it in whatever it was they believed. But my husband was a young socialist, and we had a lot of arguments about that. But I am much more like, I want nice things for everybody, and things weren't very nice when I was a girl, I can assure you.
What shaped your political convictions, Mr. Heath? I mean, I would have thought, coming almost from the background that you did, that your father might have been a socialist, say, and...
My father was a liberal.
Don't you ever think of yourself as a small child and wonder how you grew up into this? Did you grow up into what you thought you would grow? Well, dear, did you really grow up into what you thought you would?
Yeah, but I think that if you're making a living as a journalist and an interviewer, which is what I do, that in fact you don't have that kind of fantasy life. You don't create something.
Oh, I thought you were in showbiz.
No.
Oh, they told me you were in show business.
No.
Oh, I didn't know you were a journalist. Oh, how dreary. Oh, that's unkind. You really, I didn't know you were serious. Oh, I thought you were one of those song and dance men like Bruce Forsyth. I was waiting for you. Well, they play that cheesy intro music for you. I thought you were going to do a buck and wing.
Actually, I could get lucky if I was like Bruce Forsyth. He might lie down and do the interview with me.
You don't have to be Bruce Forsyth for me to do that, dear.
You know. If I got one ambition left, it would be to have played Paul Henry part in Now
Well, why don't you try it before we go?
Well, shall I do it? I
Come
really
on.
want to do this. I wonder if the band could give me a... Harry, can you play that lovely theme?
Yes, let's play the theme.
That's
Now
right.
you
Can
take
I-
the 2 cigarettes. Da 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 dee, da da.
We can't go meeting that.
My dear, it was perfect. If the wrong boy came near me, I couldn't bear him. Couldn't let him touch me.
And you still have that feeling?
Yes, I still have it.
You don't have it with me, do you?
No, and I got the other thing with you.
How did you meet?
In 1926 in Asbury Park, New Jersey, I was playing in a stock company, a lowly young actor, trying to get a break along the way, on a donut hunt for a long time. And there was a play that came through Asbury en route to Broadway. Used to break in a lot of plays there. Years later, I broke in a play there. Or I was in a play that broke in it. Let me phrase it that way. The name of this play was Women Go On Forever with Mary Bolden. And I'd been told there was a young fellow in it who had looked like a future stardom for this lad, and that I'd read things about him. I know, I just made up my mind I wanted to meet him. I went backstage and, of course, Jim and I, you see, Jim is a complete introvert. I'm an extrovert. I'm an Irish show-off. I like to be on all the time. So I took a shot in the dark, hoping that I wouldn't meet this fellow. And he was just as kindly then and as wonderful as he is today. And it was 1926, and it's a friendship that's endured for 55 years.
But is it true that you talked there about being different? One of the stories I heard was that you used to go out all night and stay up on the town, and he used to go to bed early. Is that true?
Sure.
Does it still happen?
Oh, no. No. 31 and 81, there's a lot of difference, believe me.
What about the two of you? You were both around at that time in America with that was a gangster era, the For Real, wasn't it? Did you meet any real gangsters, the two of you?
I had a funny thing happen. I was looking at a horse show up in Connecticut. And I think I told you this, Pat, about the kid. A little red-haired kid with freckled all over his face. Came up and stood alongside of me. Didn't know him. Never saw him before. And I said, "Hello, son." He said, "Well, did you, didn't you?" I said, "Did I or didn't what?" He said, "Well, did you, didn't you?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about, son. What is it? Did you go yellow when you went to the chair that time?"
I'm putting on the top hat, tying up white tie, brushing off my tails. Oh, I'm duding up my shirt front, putting in the shirt studs, polishing my nails. I'm stepping out, my dear, to breathe an atmosphere that simply reeks with class. And I trust that you'll excuse my dust when I step on the gas. For I'll be there, putting down my top hat, mussing up my white tie, dancing in my tails, putting down my top hat, mussing up my white tie, dancing in my tails, putting down my top hat, mussing up my white tie, dancing in my tails.
Duke here has just said that he wants to play a number with the band, and surely
this is my singing debut, don't you?
Yeah, but you'll be sensational.
Maestro, you'll be kind, won't you?
This'll open up a whole new career.
Yeah.
You can do the pantomime. Every Christmas you'll be on there doing big things. You want to hear it?
Yes, all right.
Will you join me?
I will indeed, sir.
May I have the pleasure of your company? Won't you join me in this catchy little song? If I can have the pleasure of your company,
sweet.
I'll stay on key and try to sing along.
You're doing great.
Old pal, old boy, it's such a joy. This band has now become your toy. But vocally, I'm all at sea. Rescue me.
I'll help you, Dad.
So may I have the pleasure of your company. And with this song, we'll make the rafters ring. And with this song, we'll make the rafters ring.
Don't take our downbeat. No. Isn't it great?
Let's have the prawn joke. Then if that doesn't work, we'll have the gambling.
The prawn fell in love with the crab. And it was mad about this crab. And it went home to its family, and it said, look, I'm mad about that crab. It lives up around that big rock at the end. And the prawn's father was furious. He said, you're not going to be seen with the crab. Ridiculous animals, they go sideways. No way. You go to the crab and say it's all, no way, you're going to go. Tell the crab it's finished. So the prawn went back to the crab and said, crab, I'm terribly sorry. It's off. Because my father says that you look pretty bloody stupid because you go sideways. No, as a matter of fact, you do. And I said, the crab was furious. He said, that does it. I'll be down this evening. I'll have a seaweed and soda with your father, and went off like this. Now, at 6 o'clock in the evening, the prawns were all sitting around their rock, and the weed opened, and in came the crab. And to everybody's amazement, it came straight, like this, straight, like that. And the prawn rushed up and said, crab, you're wonderful, crab, you're going straight. And the crab said, shut up, I'm pissed.
I first sort of got the idea that animals might be helpful in my profession before the war in the Cairo Zoo. I was on tour playing Hamlet. And there was a bird there called a shoebill. It's all right if I stand up because
sure.
I don't think I can do this anymore. But it stands about that high, and it's grey, very soberly pale grey, and it doesn't like being watched. That appealed to me at no end. It likes to watch other people, and it has a very, very big beak, rather like a kind of shape of some enormous shoe, great big grey thing there, and a little eye out there. And I first spotted it, and it was standing on one foot with a kind of little tail out. It doesn't stand up anymore. And kind of eyeing one. And I noticed that whenever I turned away, it moved, but it would never move while I was watching it. So you have to sort of pretend to, every time I say now, you really have to turn away and look back. So he was standing looking at me, and one would say, now, and turn away, and then you turn back and one would and one would say, now. And now.
But this man had his brand new Jaguar, beautiful car, driving up the M1. He's just keeping it, 69 miles an hour, like Jag drivers do. And he's got, happened to look in his mirror, and he sees a chicken running alongside him. It's none of this. Chicken. A chicken. A three-legged chicken. So he put his foot down and gets it up to about 90. He said, that'll fix him. Cock-a-doodle-doo. No, the chicken's still there. Suddenly, the chicken puts its right wing out and overtakes him. And they're doing about 150 miles an hour up the M1. Him in the jag, the chicken ahead. He said, I'll catch it. Come on, you little beggar, come here. Suddenly, the chicken puts his left wing out up a slip road. He said, I'm after it. So he chased it up the slip road, down all these little country lanes. Suddenly, the chicken put his right wing out again and shot into a farmyard. He said, I'm after it. Into the farmyard, pulled up, no sign of the chicken. No sign of the chicken, just an old farmer crossing the farmyard, as farmers do. I don't know why they walk like this. There must be a reason, but I'm not going to use it. So I said, where is it? He said, what? Where's the chicken? Oh, he said, you've chased it? Yes. He said, I chased a three-legged chicken, didn't he? Oh, yes. The farmer says, who are? Who are? He said, I breed them. He said, you breed three-legged chicken? Yes, he said, I breed three-legged chicken. He said, why? Well, he said, the farmer said, well, I like a leg. He said, the wife, she likes a leg. And the son, he likes a leg. So I said, what do they taste like? He said, I don't know, I've never caught one.
Just let Mr. Parkinson give you a little stroke. Go on. See, look, he's quite nice, isn't he? See, look. Look, he's taken to you. Oh,
Oh, my God.
Is that yours?
Yes, it's mine.
Sorry, let's have it back. Let's have it back. What are you going to do now? He's lost without it, you know. Don't. What? Don't keep doing that. Yes.
Is it a male or female emu, this?
Why don't you have a look for yourself?
Well, I wouldn't know what to look for. Looks like some interview last week.
Who's that? You're not going to say, are you? What's the matter with you? You're all right, aren't you?
Why is it so aggressive?
It's not aggressive.
Not much.
He's not all the time.
Lunatic.
He's not. Come here. Get to know
All
him.
right. I knew we should never have booked it.
Yes, the viewer's favourite. It's a good job they're protected species, or I'd have wrung that sodding bird's neck. Well, that's it then. For the statistically minded, it's been 361 shows, 1,047 guests, 373 hours, 47 minutes and 56 seconds of television time, and 11 years of my life. But most of all, it's been great fun and a great privilege to work with so many talented people, not just sitting on this set, but behind the cameras too. A couple more goodies before this programme finally ends, including a glimpse of just a few of the guests who appeared on the show over the years. Thank you for your support over all those years, and from me, good night.
love your show, and I like your style. But your pay is so cheap, I won't be back for a while.
So thanks for the memory of tonight with Michael P., who's been so nice to me. His kindness was enormous in contrast to the fee. Transportation's not important, I'll walk back across the sea. So thank you so